Ladies and gentlemen, we're about a minute away. You're coming down to hear Dr. Gill. Start heading south. We're getting ready to get started.
It's in the shade.
It is nice and shady and cool down here. Educational, yet entertainment, all for free. So coming down to the south end of the street, Arrowquip Arena.
Infotainment. That is finest.
All right, we're going to go ahead and start kicking things off down here. Can everybody hear me all right? I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Ron Gill. When it comes to cattle handling techniques and best practices, you'll be hard-pressed to find someone more knowledgeable than Dr. Gill. He brings to the table a lifetime of both personal and professional experience working cattle, and has a passion for teaching cattlemen how to improve their stockmanship. Dr. Gill has trained countless cattlemen to handle their livestock more efficiently, and as a specialist with Texas A&M University Extension, and we couldn't be happier to have him, with us today, teaching us how to create flow through cattle handling facilities. Can we have a round of applause for Dr. Ron Gill?
I appreciate getting that before we start, because you may not want to do that when we're done. So, and I'm pretty sure there was a ghostwriter that submitted that bio on that deal. There she is. I've never heard those words before. But we are going to try to do some things that will help improve flow through facilities, and that's kind of what I said I'd have a little time to work on in the 45 minutes we have here. And we've got some really good facilities to work through, and I've not really ever used their equipment other than the chute, so it's going to be interesting to see how I figure out how to use it on the fly here. But there's some things we can look at when we're working these facilities that we have to take into consideration when we're trying to get cattle to flow through. And the flow through this part of it is all set up by how we handle cattle outside in the pastures, how we handle them in the bigger corrals or traps or whatever it is. And as we put more and more pressure on them, they have to understand how to take that, and there's going to be a release of pressure. If they understand that, they won't stick their head in the corner and freak out. We've spent a fortune in this industry building round corners so a cow won't stop and stick her head in it. What happens? They stop and stick their head in the corner, even though there's not one there. So wherever the pressure is applied wrong, we can stop flow. And so if we apply the right time but the wrong amount. So flow all has to do with pressure and release, just like any other training technique. We have to know when to apply it, how much to apply, and when to remove it. That may be the most important. Because what happens if cattle stick their head in the corner? What does everybody want to do? Go over there and make them get out, right? The more pressure we put on them, the more we enforce that that's the thing they should be doing. Because there is no release of pressure, okay? So the best thing to do would be to back off and draw their attention out of the corner rather than forcing their head in the corner. Just a little simple thing. That's one of my pet peeves in this whole livestock handling business, is how we've created these monsters that don't exist. And the monster normally is in our head, and we're not thinking through some of the things that we need to for a cow. So as long as we can allow a cow to think and not react, we want them, no, we don't want them to react, we want them to reason their way through something, okay? So if they're reacting, they may or may not react the way we want to. And if they overreact, then we got to do something else. We wind up having people hurt, cattle hurt, upside down in the chute, whatever it might be. So trying to build speed and flow through a working system, we tend to put a lot of pressure, don't we? And the more pressure we get, it seems like we're going fast because we're busy. One of the best sayings I've ever heard in my life, a manager of the spade ranches in Texas made this comment. He said, boys, never mistake action for accomplishment. And think about how busy we get instead of working pins. Everybody's trying to make everything happen at one time. But if everybody's putting pressure on them, they don't know who to respond to, and they go to reactive. And so we have to be able to pass pressure from one person to another in a working facility. Now in this facility, to get flow out of this particular chute, and since the handles are on this side, we had this discussion yesterday. Why do we always work from the left side of the chute? Anybody got an answer? I don't. Habit, I guess. Normally that's the way we do everything. Left side of the horse, left side of the animal. We all work on the left side. There may be something about our brain that wants us on the left side, I don't know. But you cannot work this chute to create a lot of flow with it wide off like this. Now we can create flow from there to the chute, but we need access all the way down the side of this to create the flow all the way to the front. So in reality, we need somebody on that side to keep this flow coming. I'm not saying we can't get them into the chute. The other thing we'll get some cattle in here in just a minute, the draw of the animal in front of them is a huge deal of creating flow. And most of the issues we see with flow through a working facility is right here in the back, coming into the chute. How many cows get hot-shotted right there to get into the chute? So as this animal is leaving, and that's one, here I am doing advertising for Arrowquip. One good thing about this chute is I'm releasing that, I can open that. And so this animal leaving allows this one to see it going, I'm here, I can close and shut at the same time. So we're all in the habit of being up here on the front because that's where the controls are, right? Anybody ever wonder why we put the controls for a hydraulic chute there? Habit. Worst place in the world for them to be. They need to be back on the back too, or away from the chute. Or we're sitting right here running our levers right in the way. Didn't mean to bring that up in public, but that's the first time I've seen their hydraulic chute. And they may have an arm on it where it will move, and most of them do, but normally it's within a small range, isn't it? The best flow I've ever seen at a feedlot, they had a guy sitting over on an old tractor seat, 30 feet away running the chute. He could process about 7,000 a day because fatigue wasn't an issue. They rotated processing crews around. He sat over there running the chute. The best flow I've ever seen because he was out of the way, nothing stopping flow. Okay, just think about that. Most of the time if they're not flowing, it's us. Don't blame the cattle. If they're not working right, we're not doing right. So we have to figure out what we need to do to make that work better. The other place you'll have a little bit of issues sometimes in flow is where you have a bend in the facility. And a sharper bend. The sharper it is, the less likely they are to flow around it. Okay? So that's one advantage of a good natural curved alley system. Because you got natural flow, you don't have those joints in it. The other place that I like to be straight, I don't think it'll be a problem here today, but if it's crooked right at the back of the chute like this one is, it's going to be interesting to see how that works. But if they get right there, they are looking, if this alleyway actually is pointing to right here. So if this guy's standing right here, that's a direct line of sight. Okay, so that could stop flow. But if we got the pressure right, we can send it past that. But I like it to be straight coming into the chute and not have that bend. And we see a lot of facilities that put that bend right there. Now we're in a cramped area. We didn't have a lot of room to, I can't show you how to make cattle move if we got our chute sitting over here where I'm saying it ought to be. So I understand that too. But it's all about trying to figure out where we can make some little adjustments to improve flow instead of hampering it, right? So this is all good, but any of those sort gates or switch gates back there, some of those are pinch points. And I don't know how many of you use anybody use double alleys, double entry alleys? I like them, but it changes your pinch point up there where you can't do anything about it. If it's back there where they enter, you can get your flow going, but when they get to that switch gate, nobody's there, is there? And so we have a lot of times cattle get to that point and just stop. And so it impedes flow. So that's one of the downsides to some of these systems where you have that switch gate in the middle of a double entry alley. So all of those things come into play. If you get good flow started, they'll also go through that. But if they're in any balk to them, they'll stop at it. And so that's something to think about. So when you go home and if you've got a spot where your cattle are not flowing, there's a reason. It's either you or the facility or both. So the facility can aggravate situations. It's not going to create it, but it may aggravate it. We create it. All right? You don't see cattle stopping in the middle of the pasture because they don't know how to go anywhere, right? Something we do is stopping that movement every time. So we'll think about that. All right, since we got cattle to play with, I'm going to go back here, and everything that we talk about in flow is created by the way we handle cattle outside in the corrals. And as I go to these cattle, that's the first interaction I'm going to have with them, is how I approach them right here. And so I want to make sure I get them up, and I want to make sure that I kind of get them ready to go when it's time to go. These little heifers here are relaxed, but I want to draw those cattle out of here. I do not want to go to the back of this pen and make them come out, because I always want cattle to flow past me. So they're resting pretty good, but I'm going to make this little heifer get up. Now I may have to push them against that back wall to get them to come out, because that's a good, this whole return thing, the more I push on them, if I put quite a bit of pressure on them, they're going to want to come out even faster than if I went behind them. And now I'm on the side where I can put pressure on them, I can keep them going around this corner, they won't hip themselves. And now when I'm working an alleyway, I'm going to go back and forth switching eyes. See how good my flow is coming out. They went right away from those other cattle. Didn't worry about it at all. So we've got a good alleyway system here. Dustin, I'm going to turn them in here for just a second if you don't mind. But this is, we talk about return alleys or whatever. And what we're talking about there is when we push them away, cattle always want to go back and remove that pressure. And so this is a great way to do it. All right? Now, even if he wasn't there, I can, the same thing I did in the other pen. I'm going to push on them. Now, here I'm going to use this little heifer to open this up. I don't want to see they put their head in the corner, but I use them to take it out. So all I did is put pressure on this one. She emptied that corner out. As long as I don't put too much pressure, they're going to be willing to do that. All right, I'm going to just move them up down this fence just a little bit. Same deal. I just want them to where they'll pass by me. And I use very little driving aids. I will use a little sound. Now I want to try to, here I've got them looking different directions. I'm going to send this heifer forward or get her to turn. Do the same thing I just did. It'll create my flow going the other way. All right. So it's been their idea to go places so far. Now this is, they're really going to want to go this direction. I'm going to let them get set up, and when I do, I've created my flow. It's just that easy. We don't have to make it hard. We don't have to go drive cattle to do anything. All right, I'm going to see if I can hold them over here and just put them in the little. If I put too much pressure, they'll leave again, right? That's what I'm training them to do. I want to push this one back up. Now if I want her to stop, I got to come up, stop flow. Then I can try to turn it back. All right. Now I would like for them to get their feet still. Get over here just a little bit further. And they may go back. I may not be able to do what I'm doing. As long as they're all facing the same direction, they're more likely to leave. I'm going to see if I can push on 109 here. Turn her back just a little bit. If I can get her to turn away from me, I've got it. All right. Now I want to just see if they'll stay there. So rather than going back through the other way, I'm going to go this direction. Well, that may not be the best idea I ever had either. Just put it back up there. I was going to put it back in the alleyway. Wait a minute. You know what always helps if you come out here to use a set of facilities first, you know what's going on. All right, we're going to actually run them through. We'll put them through that one, bring them back this way, Dustin. Well, that's not necessary either. I just figured out what I could do here. Sorry about that. My wife's laughing at me. I heard her and hear that laugh anyway. I'm used to it. Now here I need to draw their eye out of the corner, get them facing that gate. Great place to train on them. I'm going to push on this outside eye, turn them around. And I don't want to put pressure on them when they're easing around like that, or they'll hit themselves on that gate. So I need to take themselves out. All right. Now then, this is, y'all call it the bud flow tub? Is that what y'all call this tub?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Flow tub.
This flow tub is designed to send cattle into it and then they can come back and come around and basically return where they came from. Hear what we've been talking about outside? So now if I need to, I can use this gate, but I don't really want to use that gate. As soon as I step here, what happens? Flow starts. That's how easy it is when they're used to flowing somewhere. Now if I need to use this gate for a backstop, I can do that. But I try everything I can not to use a tub gate. Because when you're using that tub gate, you're in the wrong position.
Would you like to let them flow through, Dr. Gill?
Yeah, let's see. We've got another group to work. We'll just, since we've got these and they're flowing pretty good, let's just show what we're processing. One thing we get into is we're real reluctant to open the head gate far enough to bait cattle forward and create flow. And so a lot of times we're afraid we're going to miss one. And so we don't open it wide enough to create the movement forward. And that's my biggest pet peeve. And that's one thing I do like about this chute. It opens very smoothly, it closes very quietly, very quickly. It'll allow you to do that. So since we've got good flow, just bring the next one in. Now if that one doesn't move, I'll move it forward. All right, now we've not done anything to stop flow back here, have we? Now if we do stop, all right, go ahead. Now my job is to step back here and create movement forward. Same difference here. Now, this is one of those situations where this is something let me try something. But now that she's in there, I'll slide this forward so I can come down her side and put pressure on her to move forward. That's one good thing about this. You can pull it up here, get in the front, walk down their side, draw them forward, even if you're by yourself. Because back here, as he was pushing on her, what was happening? She won't come this way. So once again, to create flow, you go to the front, work down the side. All right, now we're ready to let her go. I'll let you do that. Now, that's real hard work, wasn't it? And if we create flow, that's what happens. If we don't, we sit there and we push cattle all day long. Now, how hard was it to create flow in these caves? Not very hard, was it? The little bit of work we did coming from 2 or 3 different pins created that kind of flow. And even if you're not using this chute and you release cattle, go ahead and release them. If they won't come forward, step down their side, send them forward. I see so many cattle hot-shotted out of the chute without them stepping down their side. The great thing about this, you can take your handle with you, be ready for the next one.
Why is the rail in the middle of the chute?
The rail in the bottom of the chute is called a breast bar. Keeps cattle from going down. All right? Now then, I'm going to step on toes here, sorry. Breast bars are only necessary if cattle are reactionary. cattle that are responding to you rarely will go down in a chute. So if that's a problem in your chute, it's a symptom of handling and disposition in your cows. Okay? So I'm not saying they're not necessary in areas, but they do and can impede flow until your cattle get used to it. Okay? So I've never used one in my life. I've run a lot of cattle over them in these demos, but we've never used one. We do have some go down, but it's no big deal. The thing is, if you've got a chute that will choke one of them if they go down, the breast bar is a really good idea. But this chute won't choke one when it goes down. So unless I need it, I don't have one in there. And so the chute I prefer has a removable one. If I'm working high stress cattle, I might stick it back in there.
Yes, sir. This on the Arrowquip chutes, we do have their 2 bolts, 30 seconds, it's out of your way.
And that's, it's great. If you need it, you can put it in there. The older chutes weren't made to have it, so it's an option. Great option. But once again, if you have a high percentage of your cows going down, it's because of the stress. Brahman influenced cattle are much more likely to go down than other breeds of cattle, but I hear a lot of black cows going down in chutes these days. And a lot of it is the stress we're putting on them and how fast we're trying to make them go. All right? They don't even want to leave. We got them in here, they're just going to stay with us. Now, I'm going to put these back. We'll get that other set and we'll come through them. Now it'll be interesting to see what kind of flow he has here. And I don't know which group you've been through what before, and I don't want to know. Because it does not matter if I will say this, if you're going to keep, these heifers were going to be replacement heifers. We talked about acclimation over there in the demonstration arena earlier. This is part of acclimation. If I was going to be breeding a set of heifers, the research shows that if I can run them through here and get them where they flow through this before I start my AI protocols, we can see a 10% increase in conception rates. That's significant, folks, because you reduce the stress, you reduce all the issues with hormones in the animal at that point in time, and you can increase conception rates just by running them through probably 2 or 3 times. If they get sticky, you really ought to stop and free them up. Run them through there. And if you have 500 or 600 head to do, you don't have to run them all through. But run enough through and mix them back in so when they come through, they help create your draw and your flow. You can train part of them to help train the rest of it. That makes sense. If y'all have questions, please ask them, because it makes this a better deal. All right. Now then, even though this, I'm going to use this flow tub backwards from what they intend me to be. I'm just that kind of guy. This one will. But what's come to here?
And I'll come all the way around.
Oh, it won't do it. That's good. All right, I like these double gate tubs, but this is actually a really good 270-degree sweep. And if this gate would just go over the latch, you could use it just like any other kind of sweep tub. Now, I will tell you, most of the time you don't need to bring this all the way around. And something else, we want to bring enough cattle into here that we will not overfill the crowd out, or the race, whatever you want to call it, okay? So this is a flow through part of the system. All we want to do is bring them in there and get them out. So we set with our sort gate up here, come in there, I'll get some out. Now I'm going to let this neck set out and I'll just move them in the alleyway here a couple of times and we'll go through the system. Alright, now I'm going to bring these out the same way. I'm going to put pressure on them, get them to come the other direction. Come down their side, send them forward. Now here I'm going to have to put a little pressure on them. And low stress handling has nothing to do with low pressure. It has everything to do with the right amount of pressure at the right time. All right. Now, if you just have an alleyway, you don't have that little pin out there, I like that because it allowed me to work them. Most of you will just have an alleyway. So I'm going to take just a little bit of time talking. And width of alleyway was a question the other day when I was watching. This gets a little narrow for wild cows, doesn't it? And so if I'm working a little wilder cattle, I want a little wider alley because they can't take the pressure off. These cattle are already coming by me, but what I do, I stopped and I stood to the side and I let them draw themselves out. Once again, that's flow. All right? If I'm working horseback, I may want a 12 or 14 foot alleyway. You get much wider than that, you can't cover the distance. Go back one more time, girls. It's going to take a little more pressure to get them to go that way because we've got cattle to hang up here. But still, they've learned to come by me. Once again, that's part of acclimation. If you can get cattle trained to work in your set of pens, and now here I'll do something else because when I have flow, I need to be able to control it. I don't want them to just be able to come this way and run over the top of me, but I want to back up enough to keep them coming, then I can release them. If I don't want the rest of them to go, I can stop them or release them. You can do it. You can do it. There you go. But I need this control on my flow. I don't want to just open the hose and let it run. I'm going to try to draw our eye back around. See if I can step in it. Not going to do it. Let the other one go by. But you need to be able, and when you're trying to stop cattle, everybody wants to hit one of them in the head and make them stop right there. I would like for her to stop turning back. I'm going to keep drawing her this way. And now maybe I can send her back. Okay. All right.
Dr. Gill, would you like these cattle just to run straight through, no catch?
Let's run them through one time, then we'll catch them.
Okay.
All right. So we've got our flow tub set up here. So I'm going to send them to the back. Maybe. They already figured this deal out. They've already seen that's a pressure spot. So I'm going to actually bring them out of here without a gate because they're respecting my pressure and my presence. I don't even have to use the closed gate on the tub. Now, am I going to recommend you do that every day? No, but if cattle are working for you and you've got control on them, you can do this. All right? Now, Dustin's realized them cattle can go behind me. So I'm going to stand over here in case they do come around. Let him draw them out of that corner before they get past us. Go ahead, Dustin, you can draw them out of there. Now see, you put just enough pressure to get them to come around and come back. Really nice. But when cattle will work for you, this gets to be fun. The most fun I have, and my wife will test this, is working cows. I know I'm weird, but heck, if it's fun, why not do it more often? Now, if they're going to turn back on me, I switched sides on them, didn't I? I stopped my own flow. Because I wanted to be on this side so when they go around that gate, they won't hit themselves. So that was all my fault. But now I'll draw her back. Draw her past. Create my flow. Now I'm in a situation where I'm not careful, I'll hit the handles on the chute. So I got to step up here and take enough pressure off they don't go into the chute. All right, we can catch a few this time. Or catch them all. All right. About the side, the biggest trick on these is going to be keeping them from going down that chute quick. But now I'm going to try not to even go into the tub. I'm just going to try to draw an eye around and get them to look at that opening and go this way. Now I've got to put a little pressure. All right. Now if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to step up. And see, remember what I was talking about on the There's also a chain on that.
Sorry, Dr. Gill.
All right, now they're going. And that's something else. If you're not extremely pressed for time, let them flow. All right. Now here I'm going to leave that gate open and send these heifers out. If they come back, I'm going to try to put. Now if this one leaves, that one may not go. This makes me get better. It may also get me run over. Now she's not thinking, she's reacting. So now I'm going to push her around. She wasn't taking the pressure well at all. And all she can see is that corner up there. So we'll just go ahead and do what we're supposed to do here. Y'all ever do something that backfires on you? Now she's figured out she can push over the top of me. And I don't like that. So I am going to put a little more pressure on her and not give her options. But that's one good thing about having a system set up like this. We can do that, right? So we got everything through there but one without even using the gate. All right. Teach her right and get caught this time. Alright. Why don't we go back through with them? We'll talk about flow and hydraulics. Any questions? No questions yet? Now here you're going to push on this heifer's eye, turn her around, and that starts everybody. Alright. The hydraulic system is absolutely no different than the other ones, except where you got to operate it from. Alright. Now, so that's all the noise I'm using is that little cluck. And that's additional pressure. The heifer that I put through last is coming around doing what she's supposed to do. All right, now, with a good hydraulic system, I'm going to leave this open. We may not even need it. We may. But notice he's got that. Remember where I said we might have a balk and affect our flow? So I've got to come out here to the side, get her attention, and go down her side quickly. Now notice I run my hand down her back. And I run my hand down her back because that creates additional pressure. All right, that's something we don't talk about very often, but that little touch is the next amount of pressure. I've got sight, sound, and touch. Now here's another thing to think about. These heifers are such that they can't really see me until I'm right up on top of them because of the sheeting. So on the side that I work cattle on, I like for it to be maybe even a half sheet or one section lower because I can put pressure on my buddies back here. All right. But you can see in this system that just a little bit of change in design affected the flow. All right, this is where, if it were me, I'd open, if his chute gate's fast enough, open it wide enough, and then I can help him by putting pressure. Now, that's why I got Dustin to run the chute. There's nothing worse than being the guy on the head in one of these deals. But that's something you got to learn on your chute. Some of them don't close fast enough to where you can really open them that wide. So you got to figure out where that sweet spot is. And I don't really want one of them slamming because you're going to hit the neck so hard, you'll create a balk in the next time she comes through there. So this flow is always something that's important to deal with. That other one going around and yeah, shooting the back. You want to try that again or we good? We've kind of demonstrated what we can do. If there's some questions, I would love to take questions. The whole flow part of it and everything that makes me feel good. I predicted some issues. Now then, were those issues because I predicted them or was it designed? Sometimes it's because you predict them. If you think something's going to be an issue, sometimes it is. So you got to be careful about that. That may have caused them to balk a little bit, but it wasn't anything you couldn't overcome with good position and pressure. You just have to know you're going to have to do something different. Okay? So that's something I always like to think about is figuring out why it's doing what it's doing and what we can do to change it. Any question? Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying if there's a double shoot, that if you're doing the pressure right, you wouldn't need the double shoot, right?
Her comment was if I were doing the pressure like I was doing here, I probably wouldn't need the double shoot. Correct. The double entry alleyways, in my opinion, have the best application if you've kind of got a bad tub situation where you need to have a little more daylight for them to see. It's a bigger opening. But some of them have a dead spot as well right there at the back where it's not actually two alleyways. It's got like a 4 or 5 foot hole and cattle will get in there and turn on it. So you can't be there to put pressure. So that's why coming out of a tub or even out of a bud box like this was set up, when they come around, they're coming single file around you. If you need double entries, you're not doing it right. That may have been a little blunt, but that's been my experience. And if you're working a double entry alley correctly, they will enter the far side first and then start coming in this one when it gets full. Any other questions? Good question. Yes, sir. Bud box versus the tub. The tub's around, the bud box not. That's my smart aleck answer. If you work them right, either one of them will work. What we get into in tub systems, if it's not a 270 degree sweep, or it's not like this one, where they come in and come back, is we're pushing that gate around and it's clanging and banging on the catches. What do cattle start doing? They start being drawn to your motion behind them and that noise, and they start looking and they start circling. The biggest complaint we have about tubs is the cattle circle. Well, that's because of the way we're working the tub. Don't stay out there on the latch end, stay on the hinge or pivot post side where those cattle, when they come around, you can put pressure on the eye and straighten them out. Does that make sense? The bud box, this one, we used the bud box here yesterday, or they did, and it's the same thing. How I put them down here and put pressure on them, they flow back out. The only difference is they close that gate and they come out this hole. Okay? And a lot of people think this is unsafe. And on y'all's website, I got to fuss at y'all a little bit. They talk about a bud box being unsafe. If your cows are that crazy, you got work to do. The other thing about it, if cows are that wild, you don't need to be in here with them anyway because it's too much pressure. You step out here, you can draw their eye out of that corner from over here. And we have worked some salty dogs through bud boxes. And it's from way out here. Now, if they need a little more pressure, and a bud box will not work very good for gentle cattle. They need flat zone. So if you've got a bunch of old pets at home, don't do this. Or then you're going to put a gate in here and have to mash them around anyways, and just put a sweep tub in it and be done with it. Okay, so if you've got cattle you need to force around, a sweep tub's the thing to do.
Don't get inside the tub.
Don't get inside the tub. Why would you not want to get inside a tub? I told her this one day, and she drifts inside the tub, and as we look around, there's an old Hereford cow just blowing boogers on her. And there's no place to go. It's a solid-sided tub. There's no foothold. There's no way out. So don't ever get yourself somewhere where there's no way out. And that's why I do not like bud boxes with solid sides. If I need out, I want out. And a lot of these places will actually put an escape door right here and just hang belting over it. So if you hit it running full tilt, you're out. Okay? But hopefully you're getting your cattle work down a little better where that's not a big issue. So if those are the kind of things you're afraid of, and it's interesting to me, I can work cattle in an 8-foot alleyway over here and nobody's worried about it. I put them in a 10-foot or 12-foot wide box and everybody thinks I'm going to get hurt. More people get hurt in an alleyway than they do anywhere because cattle run back over. Been my experience. Maybe yours different. Any other questions? Good questions. Appreciate questions. Anything else?
Does the bud box fix your husband?
Does your bud box fix your husband? It may not fix your husband, it can fix your relationship with him.
I'll take 2.
It does take 2. But and that's something, we had a session going in there on family, working with family. If things go like they did here, who are you going to get mad at? Honestly. And that's what happens. Things don't go right and people start trying to place blame. And the ones we're most comfortable fussing at are family. The ones you shouldn't fuss at are family. Okay? So I'm going to have my family discussion out here. I didn't get to participate now and in there. But we are way too hard on people that are trying to do the right thing. Now, if you got some jackwagon trying to make it hard, then chew their butt out. But if they're trying to do the right thing, fix it. Don't fuss about it. Remember what I said about respond versus react? If you got a problem, respond to it. Don't react to it. And we are notorious for reacting and overreacting to problems. Just been talking about, don't let a cow do that, but we do it all the time. So when something happens, back up, take a deep breath, and half the time it might have been your fault to start with, but you're fussing at somebody else. Okay? But it will make evenings a lot better at home. The other thing it'll do, how many of you fuss at your children while you're working cattle? How many of them want to go help you work cattle? How many of y'all want to go to work and somebody's chewing on your butt every day? We create a lot of our own problems in this industry because we do not manage people as well as we manage cattle. The same things I just talked about on these cattle and creating that flow and that know what you want done is critical. But we get in here and we expect them to react and have a decision made when they don't know what the decision process is sometimes. So it's all training, folks. If you got kids that don't know what to do and where to do and you got to fuss at them, I always used to tell everybody, I try to figure out what got my butt chewed on the least and do it the most often. That's a bad way to learn. It's effective, but sometimes you don't want to go back and help that person that's been chewing on you. You may go help somebody else once you've learned everything, but you don't want to go back home. And that's something that plagues our industry, is people wanting to go back home and help parents. Y'all ever notice I go back home and help the grandparents? A lot of times not the parents. What's the difference? Grandparents normally won't put a grandchild in harm's way. They normally won't chew on them too bad. And I had a young man tell me, he said, "You do not know my grandpa," when I said that. And that's true. But in general, that's what we see. And they actually will take a little bit of time to explain what needs to happen and how it needs to happen. So just think about that. It's all just planting seeds in your mind and trying to get things going. Just
The 6 P's.
I don't remember.
Cattle working. Purpose.
Purpose.
Plan.
Have a purpose. What are you going to go do? Plan it out.
Prepare.
Prepare for it. We make sure everything's working. People know what they're doing.
People.
Make sure you got the right people. Politeness. And patience. Have a veterinarian up in our part of the world that did a program the other day, and that's how he started those 6 P's. I've not got them learned yet. That's really good advice. Really good advice. But if you'll go through that process and do that, you'll have a much smoother working day. Cattle will flow better. Because what happens when cattle get afraid of all the yelling that's going on with the family members? It stops your flow. So you cannot separate the two. The people's reactions bleed over into cattle. And if somebody's mad at you, but they know they can't say anything, who do they take it out on? The one that can't talk back. All right? That's where I see a lot of bad things happen in the cattle line. People are angry, and they'll take it out on the cattle, and it's a bad deal. All right, I'll quit. I'll answer more questions, but I think I'm out of time. Thanks for Arrowquip. Dustin, Brody, Phil already gone. All right. But this has been a great deal. I really appreciate the opportunity to come to it.
We really appreciate having you and your expertise. If anybody wants to come down and operate, shoot before you buy, here's one of your chances. It's nice and cool and shady down here. If you would, please get with Dana. She's by the camera. And you guys kind of got a little waiver to sign. Then if you want to come in and check out the equipment, more than happy to have you come down and play with it. And that's what it's here for. Not very often you get to test drive the equipment before you buy it, so to speak. So if you have any interest, take advantage of it. We'd be happy to help you.